Welcome, everyone, to this week 5 matchup between Jones and Palatine High School for the IHSEA State Series. With me casting is Coach Can from Oswego. Oswego High School.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't never remember which one, if you guys are East or.
Yeah, no, OHS.
Yeah. Well, welcome.
Thank you. It's always fun to come and cast with you and cast such high quality games here. I'm pretty excited.
I am as well. I mean, this is for basically for first place in the tournament for the Chicago region, so it should be a good game overall. Palatine is 4-1. Jones did have a tie. They did tie it against, I believe it was Mather High School earlier this week. I think they were or earlier this year. I think they were missing a couple players that game, but still strong second right now.
Yeah, and it's interesting to look at a lot of these bands coming out because I would say the two strongest people in the game, Tori and then Robbie Bob, both play mid. So first three bands, all three mid bands.
Yeah, I expect almost a five mid band unless they pick early, which I assume both of them are going to save their picks for late.
Well, now I'm just mad.
Yeah, so we see the Talia band first, the Azir, Rise, and Zach also being banned out. Zach's initiations from Fog of War can really change, especially that mid dynamic and bot lane dynamic as well. So I think all really smart bands.
There's the Galio ban, which the Aspiring Dropout called in the chat.
Yeah, I think the damage and wave clear from Galio and his ability to roam actually makes him, I think, a little bit more reliable than like a Talia or something like that as far as a damage output.
Yeah, and especially the mid lane is going to be a top tier matchup in the mid lane, so it's not like you can, you know, if they went Galio and shut down the team. So
we do see the Varus banned out. I think in actually a team setting, I think he's actually probably one of the strongest AD carries right now. Just the amount of damage he can output if you have a really organized team fight and a strong front line.
yeah, and definitely the pick potential with his ultimate, so it's a good thing that they got him out of the way.
See Sejuani picked up first pick there. Kind of been the staple in the top three, I think, of all junglers at the moment, with the hover for J Sneak over Sion on top right now.
Yeah, and definitely I bet Mergeri is a little upset with the changes to the jungle items. He is definitely a Lee Sin main, and not having Tracker's Knife definitely hurts Lee Sin.
Yeah, and I think what it also does is that it forces these teams to slow down play. Having those wards on your jungler, on a jungle item, allows you to be, you know, a little bit more aggressive, getting deep vision, try and make more aggressive plays. But now you have to play it slower. You have less total vision out, as we see Kaya Ricardo lock in the J4 and Kuda lock in the Zaya and the Rakan being picked up.
Yeah, good pickup there. No split bans. They get 2 picks in a row, and Zaya Rakan is open, so that will be pretty powerful. Especially in the team fighting stage with Sion and Jarvan in the front line. Zaya will be able to melt them and then also get some damage on the back line. So
yeah, I think if Jones's jungle or top is able to make a play bot with the Zaya Rakan, depending on the lane that's drafted bot, they're going to have a lot of bot jungle presence, maybe get an early turret. But we do see the Tristana getting locked in for Palatine, so you might have some of that pushback.
I'll come back stronger.
See the ban of Gangplank coming through. Pretty smart. I mean, if Gangplank can get around a front line, his casks can kind of nullify the huge front line that you can get out of this Sion and Jarvan, and get a lot of damage to the back line, whether that's the mid or the AD carry.
Yeah, and Gangplank definitely has enough damage to poke out Scion and deal much damage to him without Scion being able to do much. So I could see why that ban.
Yeah, we see the Alistair go out. I think the supports are pretty wide open for Palatine here. You could go with something like a Tark, which will give you a ton of team fight presence. You could go with a Braum, again, a lot of peel and team fight presence as we see the Gnar get banned out. It's odd to see a team ban both Gangplank and Gnar, though.
Yeah, they're definitely focused on that top lane. I think they're showing that they'll let Itori play what he wants, what's left at least, and just worry about making sure that top lane isn't in danger.
Your judgment is clouded.
And there's the Tark ban.
That's I knew that was coming. Palatine plays a lot of Taric in support lane, so I figured that was going to be coming. I didn't want to say anything yet, but
yeah, and it just seemed like it was going to be the most logical support outside of the Alistair with the peel. But there's the other option that I said, and there's the bomb. Yeah. Now, to be fair, I don't know if the Alistair Taric bans were really worth it into the Xayah Rakan. Maybe the Alistair, but the Taric I don't think is especially strong into Rakan. As we see the Trundle get locked in, who on paper a lot of times is seen as kind of a Scion counter, but a lot of times it just depends on how much pressure is brought top. The Scion can kind of get babysat through the early game and get the Trundle a little bit further behind. It's not as clean cut of a win.
With the Cassiopeia, is Robbie Bob gonna pick the Xerath? He's hovering over many champions here.
I think they locked in the Cassiopeia because it's so strong into the Victor. If you can lock up that Victor, throw down the Miasma, he has a really hard time getting away. So it looks like Robbie Bob will most likely lock in the Xerath, would be my guess. Has much safer range, is not as much at risk for, instantly getting locked up by the Cass. Yeah, and there's the Xerath lock-in.
Yeah, that Braum pick definitely is a heavy counter for Xayah. With his shield, when it's available, it will just destroy all of her DPS because she won't be able to root anyone with her ability. So
I think the key for I'm Blue Pigs playing the Braum is not to get baited out by the shield, or don't have your shield baited out too early, especially when she's past 6. Because if you can shield her ultimate, what you accomplish for your team is huge. Because you take away a lot of her upfront damage, and you take away a lot of the crowd control that Xayah brings. But if she's able to get that out, I mean, you'll face tank it all, but you won't be able to block that damage.
yeah, it's gonna be interesting because Xerath is gonna have to play way in the back line in order to not get dove on by Rakan or Sejuani. So we'll have to see how the team fighting goes. We'll have a 3-minute delay here while we wait for the spectator delay. So
I think the key for Palatine in finding a win is J Sneak and KR Ricardo not going too deep. They're going to be kind of baited by their kit. Jarvan, the flag and drag into the ultimate. Scion, his ultimate. I mean, you could really get too far away from the Tristana and Xerath and leave all the peel to Braum, which Braum isn't that strong on. And that Sejuani and the Rakan can really get around that front line and disrupt that. So it'll be really pivotal for the front line on Palatine to stay strong. And on the other side, I think if Itori gets ahead on the Cassiopeia with the changes to Leandri's, if he can get that space and be able to output that DPS with the Leandri's on that front line, I think Palatine's going to have a really hard time being able to kill her before the Scion drops or the Jarvan drops.
yeah, I totally agree with that. That's one thing. I play a lot of Scion top, and if your team's not ready to follow you up, or if you miss an ultimate and you end up too far in the back line, they basically just melt you before you can actually be relevant.
The one thing that'll be interesting as laning phase gets over and they transition into mid game around the level 6 to like 8 mark is if Palatine is going to try and find a way to get Scion to gank mid with his ultimate, whether that's just running it straight down mid or running down river, because Cassiopeia is not the most agile and she does not have cleanse. So Jarvan knockup or Scion knockup, she's going to be stuck there. So if they fan out enough in a fight, Tori could be in a lot of trouble on someone so immobile.
Yeah, and it's definitely nice with Scion's ultimate. He is unstoppable, so if she goes to ultimate and J Sneak does time it perfectly, he will just end up stunning whoever he's aimed at. So that is one of the nice things about Scion. If they have something like a bunch of CC or stuns, they can waste them all on you, and then you can get to their backline still.
Yeah. So you play a lot of top lane. How do you feel playing Scion into Trundle? Is that something that you get intimidated by? Is that a lane where you're just like, all right, I just want to survive the team fighting and then I'll try and make my impact?
Yeah, really early game, Scion does a lot of damage if they're able to land Trundle, but Trundle will actually be able to heal quite a bit once he gets to level 3, level 4, and then once level 6, Scion basically just loses because of the ultimate from Trundle just eats through his resistances, and then you just can't do damage, and he can just stay on top of you. So it's basically Scion has to win before 6, otherwise top lane will end up the other way. But then the other thing is too is in Trundle in team fights doesn't do too well. So that was a nice quick load. You already loaded?
I'm nearly there. I do think for Palatine with the Tristana, I think if they can focus on trying to rotate between lanes and turrets and never really allow Jones to farm up on the Xayah or the Cassiopeia, but always be pushing for another turret or things like that, I think they could find a lot of success. But if it just kind of turns into an ARAM, I think they're going to have, or they prolong laning phase too long, I think they're going to have a lot of trouble.
30 seconds until minions
We see here Jones looking to get some deep vision into Palatine's blue buff. They will get it and then move back towards their jungle.
Yeah, it looks like they might be trying. They were initially trying to invade or at least move in, and they were shut down by a good ward. Everyone's just watching lanes, making sure no one's gonna go for anything cheesy going in. Palatine would have a decent level 1. Actually, both teams have a decent level 1, just probably not enough damage to kill anyone. Rakan is running Ignite, though, so they will have that early kill pressure in the bot lane.
Yeah, we do also see, I didn't notice this in load screen, but the Jarvan is going Electrocute Jarvan. So I'm curious how that's going to change the way he's going to build this game. If he just got Electrocute maybe for the early game, try and create pressure on the Sejuani or in the lanes with ganks, or if he's actually just going to try and go more damage.
Yeah, he might be trying to go more damage with Braum and Scion as the front line, maybe just going to try and assassinate someone.
But we do see them go in on Avro extremely early. Going to have to blow the flash and the heal for the trade of 1 Ignite from the Rakan. So huge win for Jones there on that trade.
Yeah, Rakan was able to land the knockup, and now Tristana's going to have to be way back, so Jones plays it right. They'll be able to knock him all the way out of lane, and he won't be able to farm at all.
Yeah, and that's the hard part about playing kind of that melee tank peel type of support into Rakan, because he's so slippery. Where in most lanes that Braum's positioning there would have been fine, would have really kind of scared any enemy support from getting aggressive, but the Rakan able to jump in around him, you know, makes it really difficult as he jumps in again, and then look, he jumps back out.
Yeah, that'll definitely be the issue they'll have to keep up with. Sion and Trundle trading back, two big tanks trading back and forth. Trundle actually came out a little bit ahead of him that one. He might actually be able to get the kill. Sion does flash. I think Sneak walked in a little bit too far. Takes a tower shot, but he still was able to get away.
As we see Sejuani come up top, she's going to flash and Q in, but that's not guaranteeing any Q as he takes 2 turret shots there. So J-Sneak on this Sion has really absorbed a ton of pressure and not giving anything back as we see Curtains go in on the Rakan. The crazy thing here is with all the pressure, the Curtains on this Rakan and Temporal on the Xayah, they haven't even really gotten that big of a CS lead. Once this minion wave bounces off, it'll be pretty close to even at that point.
Yeah, they missed quite a bit of CS in that bot lane. If you look at mid lane, they have 9 or 10 more CS, so maybe not focused on hitting minions and more focused on trading. But no potions now left on Braum, and Tristana doesn't have any potions, so they're going to have a rough go.
Yeah, I think this is, and we see both junglers go down. This is where if you are on Jones, you're trying to make something happen here, and if you're on Palatine, you're looking to make sure you don't bleed out too much in that bot lane.
Yeah, we see J-Sneak going in against Trundle again, getting some good damage off. Trundle's going to have to heal up. He's going to have a lot of minions that are farm up, so he'll be okay. He'll probably come out ahead if he's good at farming most of these.
Yeah, J-Sneak got a level advantage there as the off the gank and having the minions bounce off the turret, but he'll catch all that back up now that the wave's normalizing out.
Yeah, and as you see that damage on that turret, that bottom turret's already down to almost half health there. So they're gonna have to do a little bit better job at pushing and prepping these waves before they get in there. Maybe a Braum shield up to block some of that tower damage. They can't let them get too many more of those because it'll be gone.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that Palatine is kind of doing that's really disadvantageous for them, I think when you're into a Xayah Rakan, you have to do your best. Oh, we see Merjerry going on J-Sneak up here. This might be the kill.
Sion is extremely tanky once he's got a shield, but that's sustained from Trundle with Grasp. Oh, and he does get first blood.
Yeah, I think him not kiting around his own minions' damage, moving away from his minions, he might not have lived, but he might have been able to return the kill there.
Yeah. Yeah, and getting Trundle possibly caught in the middle of a minion wave, so he's not able to get out and after his passive goes off.
See, at this point where I'm Blue Pigs is backing up, when Curtains goes in, though we do see Kuda now come bot on the Sejuani, push him completely off the turret. And this actually might be where this turret falls. It does.
First turret.
First turret going down at 637. Kind of the win condition that I thought that Palatine needed is what Jones is taking here. Early turrets.
Yeah, I'm very surprised because Xayah usually isn't that good as a pusher that early in the game.
Man, we see mid lane is just kind of a farm fest. Neither of them really wants to take too much of a risk. But we do see Robbie Bob exploit his range there. I think early into the Xayah Rakan lane, you have to go aggressive on the Xayah, especially after the Rakan goes aggressive on your AD carry, if you're the Braum there. But we do see Rakan.
He probably will go down here. He's going to get some good damage, though, on both Jarvan and Sion. Sion did use his ultimate, so he won't have that to show up in the mid lane.
The most important part about Merjerry getting J-Sneak low is the fact that the bot lane is now rotating top. We see Curtains going mid to possibly apply pressure to Robbie Bob with Kuda, but the Scion now has to all the way back, and he just got into lane, and that wave was bouncing off the turret there.
Yeah, and Palatine a little slow on the switch. Tristana and Braum almost up to that turret, but not quite there yet, so they will have to watch out because Temporal is 6, Curtains will be 6 very soon.
You know what's amazing is that even after the advantage that they had in lane, because Avril and I'm Blue Pigs didn't die, the only difference in items right now are the boots for Temporal to Avril, which is, I mean, that's about as good as you can ask for there.
Yeah, they definitely. He'll be able to stay in this game for a little bit longer as long as he doesn't get caught. If Tristana gets caught in a knockup, then that might be the start of a big downfall. A good dodge on that one. Braum does get a stack on it. Tristana not really able to follow up. Just so much mobility on Rakan there.
Yeah, we're really gonna have to see. Oh, we do see a gank come in for Robbie Bob mid. Or against Robbie Bob mid. Mary Jerry diving him. The Jarvan ulting Merjerry. Merjerry will most likely go down here, but so will the J4. So 2-for-1 trade in the middle, and if you're able to get 2 kills on a Tori mid, you'll take that.
And there's the ultimate. Rakan might go down here. Oh, great heal by Temporal to keep him alive. Had Avi been there, he actually would have been able to get possibly a kill onto Rakan.
We see J Sneak going in on a Tori, but this is what we're talking about, that DPS. If he doesn't have anyone there to help peel for him or help get on to a Tori, that Scion is just able to be kited into oblivion there.
Well, and he has no magic resist, so he missed every ability. He should have, after he missed ultimate, just kept going and just said, all right, well, that was a miss. If he landed the ultimate, he definitely could have bursted Tori down, but when he whiffed everything, he should have just backed up and reset and lived to fight another day. So basically with that back, Tori picked up a Rod of Ages, so he's going to be super tanky, start building it up for late game. Does have the tier already stacking. It looks like Robbie Bob is going to go for the full tier build.
And here's the craziest thing with that mid matchup, that Tori and Robbie Bob were essentially even for probably about the first 7 minutes of this game. Tori now is at 4,700 gold, and Robbie Bob's at 34. Though it looks like Tori.
Although he might get a kill. Oh, good kill.
So they're going to trade that back.
Down. Ooh, lots of damage coming out of Robbie Bob there, just with one combo from his abilities on Curtains. So they definitely have to watch out for that Robbie Bob. Ooh, almost gets him with the Comet. Now Robbie Bob also with the blue buff, that's going to help him stack his tier. He's basically not going to have to worry about mana for quite a while.
We see J-Sneak now freezing the lanes. If those side waves, if you could freeze them, and now Robbie Bob with this blue, if he can keep pushing those waves back, you might bleed out a couple of objectives, maybe a dragon or two, or hopefully not a Rift Herald, because that might break your siege. They might be able to prolong this to get into late game where the Tristana can get on 5 or 6 items. You know, the J4 can get a little bit more tanky.
Yeah, I'm not sure how tanky he's going. He did go Warrior Enchant, so that electric really will be kicking in, but he's going to go down because he's not tanky right here. 4 men in the river there. Ooh, he's going to flag and drag. Get on their side of the map. He doesn't have much of an escape unless he hides. So we're going to have to see what he's going to do. He might try to recall. We'll see. Curtains does find him. He's going to flag and drag, but he's not going to be able to do much.
The only thing you can say there is that at least he wasted a good amount of time. They weren't able to group mid and push down that mid turret yet. we're getting some more gold under Robbie Bob and Jay Sneak's belt. But yeah, in the end, he does die.
Yep, it looks like they're going to take over drag now that they see Robbie Bob up in the top lane. Sejuani and Cass, so they're just going to take it so quick. And a Mountain Drink is really good. We get an Inferno Drake next, but Mountain Drink is really good with Cassiopeia taking objectives, especially Baron or Rift Herald. Once we get to late game, she'll be able to just run through them very quickly before Palatine can even make an attempt to come back to it.
Yeah, and I kind of expect that Jones now will try and make some sort of push for Rift once they've backed and reset, just to try and take that mid-outer.
Yeah, Robbie Bob already finished his Archangels. He's about a little over halfway stacked. About the same for Cassiopeia at this point. A few stacks down, but doesn't have the whole item complete yet. So we need a lot more gold for that.
Robbie Bob has shortened the deficit from about 1,200 gold to only about 600 gold now between him and Itori, which is promising. He's able to collect a lot of these side waves, and now he's back mid again, so...
One thing that you also see a lot out of both of these teams is many members buying control wards. It definitely will set teams apart, especially at this level, at the high school level, where people don't think that they're important. We get 2 ultimates used right here onto J4. He's gonna flash away, but still called that a win. Also exhaust blown by Rakan, so J4 does get away safely. Blows 2 ultimates. Tristana did blow hers to save herself as well, so we'll see how that will work.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty worthwhile trade if you're Palatine there. Get the Sejuani out of the way, or Sejuani ult out of the way, pardon me. Now you're not as much at risk of Robbie Bob or April getting popped in the back line. So it does look like they're going to get this mid turret here. Also, flash ultimate from Itori does not lock them up. But we do have the engage now by Curtains, Temporal, and Kuda. Oh, and there goes the damage from the J4 there. So he will go down. The teleport canceled. As we see, maybe getting turned around back onto Robbie Bob here. No, it looks like they're going to try and reset this fight. All the meanwhile, that Trundle is just smashing away at that tier 2 bot lane turret. So... as it stands, a 1-for-1 with a turret advantage going to Jones.
Yeah, that Trundle is definitely built for split pushing right now. Going with Ravenous Hydra and now picked up the Sheen, so he's going to have plenty of damage for split pushing here. Definitely not going the tank build, going the more I'm going to be by myself and no one can take me out build.
Well, and I think at this point, as long as Curtains and Kuda, the Rakan, and Sejuani do not over-engage on these team fights, and just kind of let Itori and Temporal just kind of slowly chip away, don't ever have that Trundle come into a team fight ever. The more pressure he puts elsewhere, kind of forces Palatine to either choose, am I hard engaging this, and forcing the fight, and then we can get an objective, or do we have to back off and deal with Mergeri?
Yeah, Robbie Bob needs to pick off one of the squishies. That's pretty much what it comes down to. Everyone else is pretty tanky for him. Can't really burst out Cassiopeia now that Rod already has 6 stacks, and is working on getting the Seraphs stacked up. Should have it fairly soon with how fast Cass builds spells. Or cast spells.
So if you're Palatine, how do you think best, or what's your best avenue back into this game? We see them force kind of the 4v4, didn't really pan out, even as it became a 5v4, didn't really pan out. So how do you get back in this game?
I mean, I think they're going to need to get a little more farmed up. Tristana still isn't doing enough damage really to make a big difference here. But they're going to have to do something about this Trundle, who's just going to destroy Sion. Has 2 levels up right now. And 2 items, and Sion doesn't really have much to offer besides a banner, which isn't going to do much against him either.
Yeah, as we see this mid turret now fall, we see Curtains hard engage in, baits the ult out from the Braum, and down goes Rakan from the ult from the Xerath. That's what I was talking about. There was really no reason to fully engage there. You're not going to win the fight underneath the turret. At this point, Mergery's doing fine against the Sion in the side lane. So good on Palatine to pick that one back up.
Sion might go down here with this Trundle. He did land a good pillar. Gets a lot of damage off. Trundle actually can probably dive him now too. Although he did use his ultimate, so...
Yeah, but that's the frustrating part about playing against a Trundle is that soft CC. You're never fully locked down into one place. You can always move, but it doesn't feel like you're moving very much. Just to make a note about the 80 carries that you brought up, at this point, the Tristana is down 1,200 gold, and we see her down... well, they're about even in items if you don't count boots. But I think the Essence Reaver is going to give Temporal more power in team fights, where the Tristana will be able to try and wave clear a little bit more, as we do see Jones pick up this Fire Drake here.
Yeah, I think the static shift definitely was picked up just for that wave clear ability, just to make sure that they're not able to be pushed in. The big thing is who's going to stop Trundle. Trundle's going to be able to do so much damage to that Sion, and Sion just can't return any of that damage at all. He's tanky, but he just can't return any of that damage. So I think basically they're going to have to engage 5v5 total fight and just let Trundle take a tower or two and try to get a big objective now that Baron spawned.
Yeah, I think they've got to have a full team focus on Baron at this point. And Trundle kind of knowing it's starting to set a vision to make sure that he can rotate over, but it looks like Palatine might be wanting to turn on the Trundle.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a lot of wasted energy and resources there. He's going to be able to heal so much because there is no Ignite on the side of Palatine, so...
Yeah, and as soon as you see the Tristana or the Jarvan bot lane going after the Trundle, I think Jones just makes a mad dash to Baron, and with how big the Cassiopeia is and the Xayah, I think they just run straight through that Baron.
Yeah, a little bit of a wasted banner of command there. Against the Trundle, it takes him a little while, but he'll be able to defeat that pretty easily against a Cass. That would be the better lane to put it in if possible. But Sion has to stay there to make sure that Trundle doesn't take the base turret.
Yeah, the nice thing about Banner of Command is if you can abuse it on a Baron-empowered minion, it can do quite a bit of damage to the enemy's base.
Yeah, I did not realize that until today. I was watching, I think it was the
EU LCS today.
Yeah, right? EU, and then I saw it right after that in the Academy LCS.
Oh yeah,
they did the same thing, and I'm like, wow, that actually does quite a bit of damage to a tower.
Yeah, it's been kind of a debate on Twitter I've been watching all day that, you know, these professionals saying that it needs to be changed and needs to be fixed, but you know what the counter to it is right now is getting
the minion
dematerializer. Yeah,
I saw that. I was like, why is Orange support going dematerializer? That doesn't make much sense. But then I saw it happen. I'm like, oh, that does make perfect sense now. Yeah, I think it's an odd combo. I like how these things pop up in different metas, and you can see how it actually ends up working out overall.
Yeah, we do see Jones slowly kind of choke out Palatine for vision, and we're seeing the impact right now of you know, not being able to go that the jungle item that which provided you vision at this point, because Palatine is having to invest so much money into pink wards at this point and try and keep vision in their jungle. It's almost like a sinkhole right there.
Yeah, they just keep basically replacing a ward, putting a ward in that same spot every time.
But they can't concede Baron because if Merge Area on the Trundle gets a Baron buff, it is going to be almost impossible to fight Jones then. So you have to keep investing in the vision. They have to keep trying to force this. But it's kind of like at some point there'll be a stick that'll break a camel's back there.
Another banner of command used on the cannon minion. I think it would have been a better call to possibly put that in a top lane as he went back to base. Have it push in top lane a little bit more and try and possibly get some pressure on that top turret so you can get some vision.
Yeah, I think at this point, putting in the top lane or even the mid lane, just so that it's not in the same lane with the Trundle, is what you would most prefer. Because top and mid lane are crashing pretty evenly. They're bouncing it back and forth pretty evenly between each other. But putting it bot lane is wasting maybe an extra second and a half of Mary Jerry clearing the wave. Merge Jerry, sorry.
Trundle does break the base there, just face tanking the turret. No minions really able there. Sion's again not able to do too much damage. Trundle uses his ultimate, and he's probably going to get a kill here.
And at this point, Jones is going to just start the Baron.
They are able to get Baron. Cast flashed over the wall there to try and get Robbie Bob. Does go down for it. J4 might be able to get, and they get another kill. So right now, not too horrible for Palatine, but Trundle's still pushing in that base. Oh, and there goes Robbie Bob. If he was able to get one more kill there, they might have been okay, only having two Barons alive.
Yeah,
I'm trying to escape, but he's not going to be able to get away from Xayah
at this point,
here.
he's just trying to waste as much of Xayah's time as possible, so she can't go and crack the base, try and reset those death timers. It's unfortunate watching this Sion, who for the most part I think J Sneak has played it all right. He's just been outscaled. He didn't get enough help early. He had the one gank, which got him that kill, but it wasn't constant pressure by the J4. I think KR Ricardo kind of has to look at, if you're going to play an aggressive jungler like this, you're going to have to get a lot of early ganks off. And he didn't really gank bottom, and bot kind of fell apart on its own. That was at 6 minutes. He didn't really go mid until it was a little too late. At that point, Robbie Bob was already dead. So it might be something for them to look at for next game. You know, does he play more of a utility or tank jungler, or if he plays the damage jungler again, maybe he's got to make a little bit more of an impact there.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately the biggest problem with Sion is that he definitely needs the team to help him out. There's too many games that I've played that being the Sion main and dominating, even dominating top lane, just not able to win because you just can't control the team fight the way you want to. Robbie Bob doing some good damage on Merger. He almost lands all of his ultimates, just missed a few. Oh, and a great ultimate there to heal back up.
I think Ricardo actually might die in that 1v1 right there.
Yeah, he almost did. He didn't realize how tanky and how much sustain that Trundle had.
So you had a flash, you had 2 ultimates wasted here. Don't get the kill, and it actually looks like they're going to die. They're rotating blind through the jungle. At this point, I think we see 2 issues here for Palatine going into this game. One, I think, was kind of champ select. I think focusing all of your tank stats, you see them just dive. Don't dive under turret at this point. Nothing really they can do. But I think one issue was kind of champ select. I think having that Sion in that side wave for so long by himself spelled disaster. And then kind of the macro play, being able to rotate around the map, understanding where your impact was going to be.
we're going to be a few minutes here until we get back into the game, get everyone set up. So Jones takes game 1. We'll have to see how they change up picks and bans this game.
I think J Sneak is good enough that he can kind of go toe to toe with Mergeri. I think you have to get him on a stronger split pushing lane than Sion.
Yeah, definitely Sion is great for that team fight, but he did not.
They neither like set it up for him to join the team fight, nor did they kind of help him get out of that laning phase.
Well, yeah, and Sion does not do well against a straight split pusher like Trundle was building there, so he was not really able to do much.
Emperor shall return.
And no one else on the side of Palatine could go and help out Trundle. When Robbie Bob went over there, he was able to actually almost burst him all the way down, which I don't think Trundle was expecting that. But you can't really put your biggest damage dealer over in the side lane.
Well, now I'm just mad.
All right, so we get Talia banned again, Azir and Ryze taken away this time. Also, Varus and the Zac banned away by Palatine, so Jones cannot play Zac.
I think that's pretty smart to keep the Zac out. I think the impact that Kuda made around the map was quite high, as we do see the Galio ban come out again. So the same first 6 bans come out again, as J Sneak is going to get ready to pick his first champion here.
And we get the same first pick. We get first pick Sejuani. Different team this time, but same pick.
I think this is going to go much better for Cardo. And I think you could put J Sneak on something more aggressive, whether that's a Gangplank top, a Gnar, a Camille, something with a little bit better dueling potential top outside of the Sion. So you see the Rakan and the Xayah locked in again.
Yeah, so they definitely liked it. It worked last game. I try to tell my team, if you're winning and you're playing it, why change it up? It only makes sense to keep playing if you're winning. There's no point to change just for change's sake. If the team comp doesn't revolve around something different, keep playing it.
Yeah, we do see them pick up Tarek for I'm Blue Pigs here. That might help them turn some of these team fights where they took a lot of upfront damage and weren't able to sustain through the fight. So that should help with an Ezreal a little bit more maneuverability in team fights as well. I think the Ezreal here might be the better choice, but they will lock in the Caitlyn.
Yeah, I'm not sure how good Avi is on Ezreal. I haven't seen him play Ezreal in a while. But going with the Caitlyn with the CC chain definitely could be really good for Palatine if they're able to pull it off.
Yeah, I think the most dangerous thing with going the Caitlyn into the Xayah Rakan is that you'll be stronger in the very early part of the lane. Mid-game, when Xayah power spikes, you're going to be a little bit weaker. So you really got to get over that hump and get to the 6 items at the end. So that mid game where they struggled a little bit last game, though some of that is because early game they just fell apart, they're really going to have to hold it together, as we do see a Tori lock in the victor there.
I'm absolutely livid.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that Robbie Bob actually is not he's by no means a one trick, but I think he has that as a comfort pick at the victor.
Yeah, definitely. Zerath is one of his that he's been playing for quite a while. We saw plenty of that last year in the Chicago tournament. We'll see how he counters this Victor pick. He does know who it is up front, so he can pick it, and you know he knows what he's getting into. He's not gonna have to wait for it. So we'll see how he'll do it here.
I think the Vlad was a really smart ban after you've picked the victor. I'm interested to see. They're probably going to throw another mid ban at him, would be my guess. Yeah, it's the Kassadin. So both of them pretty good counters into the victor. The Vlad able to pull out from underneath a lot of that damage, has a lot of sustain into the victor. And the Kassadin can just run down the victor. His graviton field doesn't matter. As we do see Palatine finish out the ban phase by getting rid of the Trundle and the Camille. Camille can actually do something very similar to Trundle, being able to split push in that side lane pretty much forever. The Kazakhs coming through for Kuda there. We've seen Kazakhs excel at the professional level. We've seen him struggle at the professional level. I think there's a lot of upfront tank so far on Palatine, and they're going to group a ton. This is not a team that is probably going to fan out a ton in team fights. So I don't know if the Kazakhs is the greatest pick. We are going to see the Scion again. So it'll be up to Mergery. What would his counter be for the Scion there? If you're playing Scion, you play a ton of Scion. What do you think is the next logical counter for him?
Well, they definitely need a big frontline tank, so they could definitely go like a Maokai, something that has a lot of sustain, able to push the wave after a few levels fairly well. And we get an Ornn?
That actually might be a mid lane Scion and put Ornn top, which Ornn at this point, with the no Camille and no Trundle, unless they pick maybe a Gangplank here, should be pretty safe into most matchups at this point. So we're going to see the Nasus come out.
Yeah, so that definitely, again, so it's good split pusher, not too much frontline, so they're still going to have to rely on Kazakhs and Rakan basically getting the picks that they need to. And they definitely can use that, but if we get a good Sejuani ult, it will definitely be detrimental. We might have had a wrong pick
placeholder.
There. Yeah.
Might have been a placeholder.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. Hang on. So it looks like we're just going to go right back through picks and bans. I'm going to take a quick break while they go back and do it, grab some water. Feel free to do the same, guys. I'll put it back on the screen. I will be right back shortly.
I shall endure. I want a turn.
Hesitation is death.
Playtime's over.
Understood.
Aww.
Yeah, so that does look like it was a placeholder. Flopping the roles there. Robbie Bob now on the Cassiopeia and Ittori on the Victor. All right. Well, looking at the two teams while we're in spectator delay here, kind of comparing going top to bottom. Ornn, I think, in early trades will be able to really harass the Nasus there, which will be interesting. It's a little bit more of a role reversal there where Jay Sneak kind of had to, he did get some early harass, but kind of got outscaled. I think Ornn will scale pretty well with the Nasus there. Sejuani and Kha'Zix. Scary thing here, this is probably going to be where Kha'Zix will be the strongest, is just kind of invading and trying to make KR Ricardo's life miserable. But I think if his team can kind of collapse into their own jungle, he should be okay. Mid lane, the Cassiopeia into the Victor. I thought it was pretty fair both ways. Tori going the cleanse, and Robbie Bob going the heal. And then in the bot lane, you have the Zyra Khan into the Caitlyn Tark. I think real early, like levels 1 through 3, maybe 1 through 6, the Caitlyn and Tark should be able to harass the Zyra Khan. If the Tarek, I think the key here again is like what I said last game. As soon as Rakan goes in on the Caitlyn, the Tarek has to ignore him and just go straight onto the Zaya. But then I think in that mid game, I think it'll shift back over to the Zaya Rakan. I think in team fights, if it's the 4v4, as long as they stay clumped and kind of negate the Kha'Zix isolation damage, I think Palatine has probably the better 4v4, 5v5, especially if they can jump on the Victor. If they start spreading out, people going into solo lanes by themselves, and kind of let Kuda dictate the pace of the game, I think Jones can really finish this out strong with the 2-0.
Yeah, I definitely think this is going to be a good matchup once we get to that late game, depending on how easy Nasus is able to push. If he's not able to get that many stacks, if Ornn's able to keep him out, and if Sejuani is able to show up a couple times, so Ornn is able to kill him solo 1v1 until we get to the very late game, I think Palatine will do pretty good. They have so much CC on their side of the team too, that if Nasus isn't able to live and they're able to 4v4, I think Palatine definitely could win it.
I think the biggest thing here is for them to pick their fights and have vision, and fight around objectives. I think with the Caitlyn traps and the miasma, if Palatine can dictate what choke points Jones has to go through to kind of engage into these fights, I think they'll be fine. If they kind of let Jones dictate when and where the fights will be, I think they're gonna have a little bit more of a hard time.
Looks like we're gonna have an issue.
The instant pause as soon as you get into game.
Yeah, it looks like someone grabbed the wrong rooms. Don't know if they're gonna he asked them if they're going to remake or not. I don't know what they're gonna say here.
This is why League of Legends, Riot, needs to make tournament draft have every champion open. So we never have to deal with placeholders ever again.
Yeah, I think for at least for that this should be in like a pro draft mode where everything's open for a custom game. I mean, it sucks that you wouldn't be able to play it, but
I think League did a really good job with this new current competitive season, making it friendlier to new accounts being able to play and things like that. But I think the idea of unlocking champions is like the last hurdle for them. And I understand like Overwatch is a different game, but you know, having that game have all champions open, all heroes open right away, I think just drastically changes the way people look at that game. And when you go into competitive, you don't have to deal with this. But it looks like they're just going to go ahead and play the game, though.
yeah, it looks like they're just gonna play it. Very unfortunate for Robbie Bob that he does have the wrong masteries. Flying through the draft that second time, wasn't paying as much attention. Although it is Comet, it's not the greatest, but it probably wanted something a little bit better.
Do see them here stacking in this tri-bush. It looks like on Blue Pigs will most likely go the safe way back or ward them out. And it looks like they're gonna go ahead and walk back.
Yeah, just waiting for the blind face check for someone to possibly walk into that bush and get an easy first blood.
I think the comment will work. Victor's not super mobile, so I'm wondering if it's not the sorcery tree that was much the issue, but whatever he's running secondary.
Can you see that if you hit the C for character when you click on the champion?
No, I cannot.
Okay.
I
wasn't sure
if I could hover over it. No, just shows me that she went that he went sorcery on her.
Yeah, I know. Let's see, you get all the bonus information, but I wasn't sure what it actually showed. So Orange gets the first level too. Definitely out trading right now with Nasus. So we'll see how that goes. Rakan did get the early knockup onto Tarek, but was not able to follow up with as much damage as they did last time.
Yeah, I think being on the Tark is going to give him more sustain in this lane. You see J-Sneak going in on Mergeri there. Oh, as we get the there's the gank by Kuda there. The flash.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that flash. I don't know how he thought he was going to get away past that point.
Yeah, I think as soon as you see Kuda up there, that's pretty much over. It's pretty much it. Maybe try and trade a kill onto.
Yeah, and he's waiting there for the teleport. He knew it was coming, so.
Looks like they're gonna rinse, lather, repeat again. J-Sneak with no flash.
Yeah, now if he had flash, he would be okay. Oh, flash by Ricardo. He might actually get Kuda here. Oh, he might actually get a double.
Get the double there. No,
minions.
He's tanking minions.
Yeah, the minions.
Tanking a ton of minions there. And Mergeri has grasp. Yeah. So Mergeri gonna be the real winner in this exchange.
Yeah, only gets one kill, but gets a double buff on top of it. So. Robbie actually going really aggressive against Isori. He might get the kill. Isori has to flash and cleanse. Robbie flashes and gets the kill on Isori. And this bot lane on the other side too, this Tarek definitely has been a big game changer. Avi and I'm Blue Pigs pushing in onto curtains now.
Yeah, you just see that it's so amazing to watch this high level 1v1s take place like that, because you know most players wouldn't even think about doing what Robbie Bob did. Go aggressive in Atori's minions. But he's able to skirt around a lot of the damage that Atori was putting out. And the fact that Atori used 2 summoners there really puts him at a disadvantage. So we do see Kuda coming bot, the flash, and the heal from Avril. The stun is down for Tarek there. This actually might end up being a double kill. No, it doesn't look like he's able to get underneath the turret.
Oh, curtains might go down the minions. Makes a mistake, tries to knock up the minions and almost dies for it.
Yeah, we see how much those early shenanigans top cost J-Sneak on the Ornn there. You now have a Nasus with double buff, so we see Kuda go in. Robbie Bob will use the heal to try and do quite a bit of damage peeling back. The Blast Cone is there.
Yeah, Blast Cone just spawned. That was good timing. Nasus gets the double buffs.
That was a really big mistake there by Mergeri. Trying to rotate down with his jungler in mid lane to try and kill Robbie Bob, and just kind of inted there.
Yeah, just literally walked in. It's like, oh, Ornn's not going to be able to kill me, and Ornn definitely does enough damage if he lands the combo.
Yeah, it's odd. Even with like the nerfs to Ornn's damage, it's amazing how much damage he does as like a pure utility tank.
Yeah, and his initiation with his ultimate is just so great at getting to the back line. So if you have that team that just is all back line and you can't get to it, they have so much front, it's perfect for getting there.
And the hard thing now is that Mergeri kind of was counting on the aggressiveness that he could have with the double buffs, because he first buys Sheen, but now you've got J-Sneak with double buffs. So any pushing out now, he's really at risk for really strong all in by J-Sneak.
Good combo there by J-Sneak. And I think Sejuani is just going the straight power farm, trying to hit 6 as early as possible. Hasn't really shown up too much in lane except to help out in that top side fight earlier. But definitely has a lot more CS than his counterpart, who's been more of a participation in lane. Oh, Sneak just misses the knockup. Might have been able to get a kill there with the ultimate.
Yeah, just misses the knock up there. But kind of the power of those double buffs there. I mean, he still has Mary Jerry at about half health, though. Mary Jerry now has his ultimate. He has his ultimate. Probably not going to be instantly popped there as long as he's awake and lane. I do think the Sejuani is far more of Ricardo's play style. Going something so aggressive like an electrocute Jarvan, but not showing up in lane isn't good. But going aftershock farming Sejuani is significantly better. We see Kuda now ganking mid. Robbie Bob being able to get the ult down.
Oh,
Still will go down.
and not enough DPS after the initial burst from Kha'Zix and Victor there. But if you look at bot side on the CS advantage, I just noticed Avi is about 30 CS up on Temporal. I'm not sure what the biggest difference this game is. I mean, I think the Taric pick is definitely a lot better, but that's
If you've watched the trades at all, the biggest thing that I'm Blue Pigs is doing is not kind of getting baited into the Rakan like he did on the Braum. He's positioning a little bit more aggressively, you know, trying to discourage the aggressiveness out of Jones. Where on the Braum, he was kept peeling back, and Avi was more in the front line than he was, so it allows Avi to do more damage and focus on CS rather than navigating around the Rakan and Zaya.
So we do have an Ocean Drake up first, which would be really good for both teams right now, just with the Nasus farming in the top lane, never having to worry about mana, getting the passive healing, as well as casts on that side as well.
Oh, we do see a three-man top lane fight here. We see the Sejuani going, the Ornn ult already down. They probably won't have to blow any more ults here. Yeah, that will be it. So one ultimate used there. Kill over on Robbie Bob, which if you're Palatine, that's the basket you're putting all your eggs in right now. He's up 2-1, up a few CS. I really think now, after getting the one kill on the Nasus, I think Robbie Bob and Ricardo trying to find a way to get bot lane and maybe take an early turret. Oh, we do see Ricardo getting jumped on by Kuda, but actually looks like this might be turned around. Nope.
Wow, I don't know if he missed the stun there or what, but the stun was almost instantaneously gone, so I'm thinking he missed it. He still had ultimate. He could have easily just soloed Kha'Zix. I'm not sure what happened there. It's a great follow-up if you're able to get all 4 of the procs from your melee attacks to just then go all in and then use your ultimate and get him for another stun. They're pretty much locked up forever.
Yeah. We see Curtains clearing out some vision in the mid lane. That's another thing, though, that Rakan does a little bit better than Taric. That roaming, the Rakan, if he really wants to, I mean, can just cover so much distance. And if you're not really paying attention, if he walks over a ward and he's in your lane, you know, you can really see.
Oh, great trap.
Heal coming out of Temporal. Kuda going in on Blue Pigs. The ult comes out, chases them away.
Oh, Avi just missed landing that stun onto him.
Yeah, and that's the hard thing right there. That was really on Avi, because he needed to step back as the Rakan was coming and make sure that stun hit. If that stun hits, they probably win that trade and get the kill. But because he steps forward, Curtains is able to run past him while ulting in.
And it's really sad because Sejuani was down there a little bit late, but if he was down there a little earlier, still has ultimate. Could have definitely turned that fight there. So Robbie using his ultimate there, trying to get Kha'Zix away. It almost outplays. Almost is able to get Kha'Zix, but Victor's just going to follow up with the damage there. So great play by Kuda to be able to get that gank and get away. Again, just Ricardo not able to be where he needs to be, not reading the plays, not reading where his opponent jungle is going.
Yeah, and I think one of the strengths that Jones has, and that, you know, they get because they're not only all really high tier players, but they've been playing together for so long, is that they move so well as 5 around the map. Whether that's timing up their backing, we just saw 3 people back all at the same time, now moving out with full items. Or, you know, that kill onto Robbie Bob, you had 3 people there moving together. It makes it really difficult for teams to get picks on them, or force fights that Jones does not want to take. We do see they're kind of posturing for this Ocean Drake here. Oh, is J-Sneak going in on a married Jerry here?
Oh, and a miss by Ricardo on the Sejuani. I should have saved it just for a hair longer. Would have been able to get the regular stack up, but I think it's a little bit away from that Naxxus. He does have teleport up. They probably aren't even going to be able to get the turret. And for that, they're going to succeed the Ocean Drake to the other team. To Jones.
Yeah, I don't know how much of an impact that will really have. Looks like they will take Rift Herald here. They already have first turret down. So they might be able to put that mid. Victor's really hard to push on mid because of his wave clear. But yeah, it's an Ocean Drake, so it's not the worst Drake to give up. Probably the most favorable one to give up. But yeah, a lot of abilities used and summoners used there. So
yeah, I think that was a little bit of a waste on the ultimate. Hopefully Sejuani's ultimate will be up fairly quickly, so before the next team fight, now that both of the big objectives are off the map.
We do see Jones looking like they're going to posture bot. Robbie Bob marking that Tori is gone. This is kind of the point where you're like, it's taken me too long to recognize. But they will go out. Jones won't force the matter. And actually, Tori's going to start moving back up, so they might make a case to try and defend this turret here.
Yeah, I don't know if there's going to be too much to defend unless they go in. Yeah, they waited too long. Had I'm Blue Pigs went all the way in, they might have actually been able to save the turret and possibly get a kill. Because now Sejuani's there, but no ultimate on Sejuani. So, again, a little bit late on the rotations, and then no ultimate here. Could have possibly turned that team fight, saved the tower.
Yeah, I think a huge part of that, though, is the fact that Avi did not commit to going in and protecting that turret. You saw I'm Blue Pigs go in underneath the turret there, and posture as if they were going to protect it. And there's only like 4 minions there, so I mean, a Caitlyn Q and a Tarek Stun would have cleared out all the minions there. He had ultimate. I think if they would have just committed there far earlier, like you were saying, I think they'd probably protect that turret and buy Sejuani the time to get there. Even though she didn't have the ultimate, having the 3-on-3 on her turret might have discouraged them. Because now you've got your AD carry and support now being able to free roam because they've matched the turret.
So switching bots, both bots are in the top lane now. No real big objective, so no disadvantage for either team. Kha'Zix is waiting in the brush right here. Not sure where he is. Sejuani's posturing around mid lane. Victor's cleanse is up. Oh, good flash by Avi. Almost went completely down.
Yeah, we're starting to see the scariness of a pretty fed Kha'Zix now. They're really too open and loose in these team fights, not staying together and allowing Kuda to kind of go in and dictate plays. We see J-Sneak and Jerry go at it. See them dive in top lane there. Ricardo a little bit late for this fight here. though I am Blue Pigs is going to get one. Ricardo should get Kuda there. He will.
Robbie Bob showing up though. We'll see what happens here. Oh, missed the ultimate. That was the key there. Ooh, flashes. That was a great flash. To get around the bind.
The rotation by the cast top happened a little late. And the Sejuani, you know, Ricardo really not being where the team needs him when they need him there.
Yeah, again, if he was just a hair earlier, it would have been a completely different fight. Orin did get soloed by the Nasus there. He's going to have to figure out what he needs to do in order to deal with this Nasus.
Yeah, this is the point in the game, if you're playing solo queue, that you and your team start getting worried when the Nasus is able to solo you out, and you kind of look at his stacks and go, oh, it's going to be more than just one person in this lane that's going to have to take care of him.
So Palatine not able to actually set up a siege anywhere, so they're just going to put the Rift Herald in the mid lane, or bottom lane by itself. Maybe try to force a tower in a different lane. Nasus will actually be able to take out Rift Herald fairly quickly. I'm surprised he at least didn't use it in the mid lane to try and get some damage on that mid turret. And bot lane there, it's going to be pretty much a waste.
Yeah, actually, it's just going to end up as like stack farm for Nasus there, which is not what you want to see.
Yeah, had they at least used it mid, it might have got at least one hit to take out a big chunk of the turret, but Palatine not really able to set much up there.
Yeah, I think that actually goes under stacks, 25 stacks for him. So throwing another 25 stacks Nasus's way is not really worth. You might as well just let that expire at that point. The positive here, oh, it is only 6 stacks. My apologies there. Thank you, Spire. Well, then that's not as bad then. Might as well get it out. We do see Robbie Bob. There's quite a few items. Oh, good stun. We do see Blue Pigs is going to live. They might be able to clean up the kill on a Tori. Robbie Bob 2v1s there.
Oh, Caitlyn goes down to the Nasus. That was such a great fight for Palatine, but they're just not able to follow up on it. Orin looks like he will go down here as well. That is unfortunate. Nasus with a triple kill. Definitely did not respect that Nasus on top of the Caitlyn. Basically chunked her down from half health.
Yeah, Murray now has over 350 stats on his queue. So he's really starting to chunk. It's not a ton for 20 minutes, but it's enough when he comes in with Triforce. He's going to be able to blow up Avi pretty quickly. Yeah, and like you said, that was a one set of team fights there. Robbie Bob had just 2v1'd top. Got the kill on 2 curtains, and I believe we're trying to stretch for temporal when Mergerry came. Sometimes it's hard to know when you need to back out of these skirmishes and fights, because it feels like you're winning because you're getting the kills, but you're not really weighing in, you know, who could possibly be making their rotations into the fight.
Yeah, actually, Robbie was able to solo temporal first, and then he finished up and killed Curtain. So he got the double kill. He did 2v1 and killed them both, but that means he wasn't there for the big team fight he needed to be. So they definitely should have backed after they got the kill. Orange should have just stayed away, maybe did an ult and knock up, but there wasn't much he can do at that point, especially with the Nasus so fed right now.
And the scary thing is with the changes to Haunting Guys, it's a little bit more difficult for the Cassiopeia now to try and take on, you know, enemy champions who have some MR. And at this point now, you know, Nasus has 2 MR items, so Robbie Bob isn't guaranteed to walk into the same side lane as the Nasus and be able to survive at this point. So even your most fed person doesn't stun. And it looks like Kuda is on a mission to try and find Robbie Bob. The Robbie Bob kind of smelling it out.
Not going to be able to do anything here. No ultimate. Does use his Archangels. Get some good damage onto Kuda, but not able to last long enough to kill him.
Yeah, I think if you're Jones, you play this game pretty much the same way that you did the first game. Leave Mergery in that side lane. Force J-Sneak to stay there with you. And then for the other 4, try and find picks around objectives. Let Kuda stay off on the flank and then have him do exactly what he just did there. Force summoners out of Avi, out of Robbie Bob. And have the Victor take care of whoever's rest.
Yeah, Orin not going with any kind of armor yet, so Nasus is just able to run through him. He needs to at least pick up Thorn Mail or Bramble Vest just to stop the healing from Nasus. Otherwise, Nasus will just be able to heal up with a Q. He does have Grasp as well, so he just does so much healing.
Yeah, I'm really curious if he went the Adaptive Helm early to try and counteract the ultimate damage or the E-poke from Mergery. But at this point, just trying to sustain through the auto attacks and the Qs are going to be the larger issue for him. As we look at that tower just crumble there, as Mergery's now at 447 for stats on Typhoon Strike.
He definitely is the raid boss this game, so it's going to take a lot for Palatine to be able to take him out. They're definitely using this split push team comp to get work done and get towers. Every time they take a tower, they rotate and take another one. So lots of posturing around Baron now. Looks like Jones might be setting up for a Baron. Jones clearing out as many wards as they can. Curtains with his high mobility, clearing out a ward and then dodging away. Although he might get caught here. Gets knocked up by the Orin ultimate. Oh, and he'll just get away thanks to the Zaya being able to get so close there.
Oh, but you see the damage that Kuda can do as he just runs in. Again, this is the over-committing to the small skirmishes that we were talking about. You felt like you were winning because you had Curtains almost dead. And then all of a sudden, 4 people from Jones is able to rotate because they have such strong team fighting.
Yeah, and the target they should not even be going for is Curtains, so I'm not sure what the idea was there. Curtains is pretty squishy right now, so he's able to get out. This might be GG here. Let's see if anything happens. Palatine can get anything. No, there's a straight ace.
Yeah, that's a straight ace right there. Avi moving out to maybe try and defend this turret, but I feel like he's just most likely going to die if he goes anywhere near Mergery, even with his ultimate down. This is the danger. If you looked at that bot lane, Avi and I'm Blue Pigs, I mean, they won that laning phase. Does look like that Mergery is going to go down.
That's really unfortunate. You want that Baron on the Nasus and not able to have it. Now that he stepped a little too far, wasn't aware of the stun, stepped on too many traps. So they do get the shutdown gold for that, which will be really nice. But they will have to push against the Baron now. Palatine not playing around Robbie Bob. That last fight, Cassiopeia was in the base, not able to be anywhere near the main team fighting there, so they have to figure out if they're gonna group a little bit better when they get a pick like they did on Curtains originally.
Yeah, the hardest thing about that, oh, and there goes Avi. Just not enough vision in your jungle. Kozik's having the true stealth there, so I mean when he starts flying through your jungle, you saw the movement speed he had there. He doesn't have Predator.
Does have the Mobies though.
Yeah, but the Mobies plus his speed buff going through the bushes with the stealth, man, he was just flying.
Yeah, and Avi he needs to stand next to someone. That's his goal, is just literally stand next to someone so he doesn't die. Because if he has the summoners up, or if he at least has someone next to him, he doesn't get the isolation damage, and he can possibly live through a cycle.
Yeah, and they really have been moving more towards strengthening the isolation damage and lessening just the straight damage on the Q. So it's pivotal for Palatine to try and stay stacked as much as possible. I mean, look at Kudo right now, aggressively positioning, trying to wait for Avi to be caught out. As Nasus is just shoving down lanes, and look at just the lack of magic damage being done there. Oh, there goes Kuda in, but he will get stunned up underneath turret. He will go down. Robbie Bob fighting for his life. He will go down. The Tark will also go down.
Level 17 against level 13. He's not going to be able to do anything here. Yeah, so much magic resistance, so much heal coming out of Nasus, just not able to do anything.
Yeah, and this is going to be the final push here for Jones. Jones doing such a clean job of being able to move around the map with each other, being able to play off of the strengths and the power spikes of each of their champions there. I think Ricardo did a better job trying to keep Jay Sneak into the game, but if you can't fully push down Nasus and have that Ornn rotate, and you just are sitting there not to lose, you're going to end up losing the game.
Get one last hurrah here for Palatine. Not able to even get a kill yet. Tarek does go down.
I'll be getting a kill on the Curtains there at the end, but the Nexus will fall. And correct me if I'm wrong, that will make Jones the only team not to have lost at this point. I think everyone else has at least lost one match they've played.
Except for, I believe, Mateo Valley has not lost in the Suburban bracket.
That is correct. I completely forgot about the Suburban bracket, which ironically enough is where OH is. So yeah, that's shaping up to be a possibly good match.
Yeah, that definitely should be a fairly good match once we get towards the later stages. So I'm just going to update this right here. I'm going to see if I can get one of Palatine in here for a little interview before we cut out. So with that win, Jones does take first place from Palatine by 1 point. We still have 2 weeks left of the season, so week 6 and 7. So we'll see how these teams will end up. If anyone's able to upset either one of these teams in the next 2 rounds, It could mean a big swap of power. I believe Jones and Palatine are the top two teams for the Chicago bracket. I think there will be lots of movement between everyone else below them, but I definitely think they're the top two. I expected them to go into this game undefeated to vie for first. I was hoping it was going to be closer towards the end, either week 6 or 7, so we can have that matchup right before they play. We will be taking most of these teams to the playoffs. Only one team won't make it from our bracket. So they will, and then we'll do a best of 8 from each Chicago and a suburban bracket that will meet the top 4 in a LAN finale at Robert Morris University.
Yeah, that's really exciting. I know a lot of the kids at OHS are really excited about having the ability to go and play and kind of have something to look forward to and work for. I think it's a really awesome, unique part of this tournament. Having the ability to kind of sit down and finish with this LAN, and after all the hard work and weeks leading up to this, it really kind of culminates into a really cool event there. So really awesome, and we'll really have a pretty high payout for teams that do well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing is to get this all together. We actually just opened up the registration for colleges. So far, we got already 4 schools that are ready to come down and scout our teams, and I'm willing to have anyone come down. If you're in high school in Illinois and you want to talk to some of these coaches and some of these recruiters, I'm totally all for having you guys down. We'll have an invite going out soon up on our Twitter. I think we're going to get Jerry in here in a moment to talk to him and how he dominated that top lane. Give me 1 second while I get this all set up.
What's up?
What's up, Jerry? How are you?
Pretty good.
Good. How do you feel after that win?
Pretty good.
Nice. So tell me a little bit about yourself. First off, what year are you in high school? What are you planning on doing for college? Any ideas?
I'm a senior and still weighing my options.
No idea what major or what school you're heading to yet?
Still trying to figure that stuff out.
Sounds good. You still got some time. It's only March, so. Wanted to ask you, what was your guys' thought in draft pick? Were you planning on going with split pushing the whole time? First game you played Trundle pretty flawlessly. We were worried against the Scion how you were going to do. But go ahead and talk about your guys' pick and draft and how you guys came up with your picks.
For top, we were just trying to get me a decent matchup. They first picked Scion the first game. Trundle does really well into that, so I was fine with that, and he can't match me in a side lane, so I can just split push. We had Zyra Khan both games, just a strong bot lane, just to control the bottom side of the map. That worked well first game. Then mid, we just banned some hard mid matchups and got a decent mid match, so he can hold on and farm it up mid. And then jungler first game went with the tank just for the comp, and then the second game went for the carry, so I played a tank top.
Yeah, and definitely that Nasta second game, we basically called it. We said if he gets anywhere near late game, again, or nobody was going to be able to compete with him at that point.
Hey, Jerry, it's Coach Can. First of all, congrats on your big win, on your big 2-0. I guess my biggest question for you guys is who kind of runs shot calling in the game? I know you guys have been playing together for such a long time. Is it something that's natural for you guys at this point? You guys pretty much know how to play off each other, or is there a pretty designated shot caller on your team?
We all have our input on what's going on in the map and where we can make plays. We don't really have one person really micromanaging anybody, so that's that.
Yeah, I think probably one of your guys' best strengths is just your ability to play off each other, and you can really tell that there's a comfort level there. Is there any champion that you wish that they would let you play? Is there something that's like a favorite champion for you to play that you just wish they would let you play?
It would just be Riven top, but that's pretty situational. I couldn't really play that into the Scion or Ornn, so
Yeah, that seems like even if you're very Viper-esque, it'll be a pretty difficult matchup for you. Um, I guess another question as well is where do you guys think that you could have the most growth? I mean, you guys have had really dominating performances with you guys playing, but I mean, there's always room for growth. So where do you think your guys' ceiling would be set at?
I think we just have to work on our macro play. We can definitely improve on that. Just basic rotations and controlling objectives. Improve on that mostly.
That's nice. I did have another question. Are you planning on playing collegiately, or are you pretty much done after high school?
I might play collegiate. I haven't decided yet.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you see the article today that was posted on the Tribune?
I did.
You did. Okay, yeah. So I mean, hopefully we're getting a lot of message out there about this league. The whole point of this league is to create some partnerships and some connections with colleges so that you guys can be scouted. I mean, that's kind of the reason why, is to give you guys a place to be play organized and to possibly be scouted. I was actually really excited that you guys were actually in this tournament because you did miss out on the Chicago tournament last year. So I was happy that you guys were able to find a sponsor and get everything coordinated together for this league. Is there any league that you actually like playing in more than other? Because I know you guys participated in a couple other ones.
I don't know the leagues really.
You just show up and
kind
play.
of just play.
Yeah, and that makes a big difference. You guys are actually just very naturally talented and know each other. You guys have been playing for 3 years altogether, basically?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys have been playing, I believe, all 3 years. So it helps that you guys are naturally talented, have been playing for 3 years, and haven't really had like much school or coach support, and still able to be this successful. So it's very very uplifting, and it's just nice to see that you guys are able to do this. Ken, did you have any other questions?
No, I think that's it. I wish you and your teammates the best of luck through the rest of your season, and keep going and keep grinding there. But yeah, great series, and great job being such a probably impactful player, really changing the tone of the game there.
All right, with that, guys, we are going to end the stream again. I want to thank you, Mergeri. Thanks to Jones and Palatine for letting us stream this game. Thanks for everyone watching in the chat. Hopefully, you guys found those games entertaining. I will try to stream a few more games before the rest of the season. I'm also going to try and put some of these games on YouTube. This one will go up there hopefully this weekend. And I will try to record some more and get them up there before the end of the season. So if there's any coaches or people who want to keep track of their teams and how they're doing, that's my job, is to try and get more of these games up here before the end, before playoffs. So if there's any scouting, if anyone wants to check out the teams, they can. If you guys have any questions, you can find us on Twitter. You can check out our Discord. Feel free to hit us up on there, email us. We're looking for anyone that's looking to start a team in high school. We will help you find the way. We're talking with administrators and activities directors to try and get them to start programs at every school in Illinois. So we'd love to see this grow to be, the state tournament, and then actually have it be official and have a direct path for you guys to get scholarships, to get to college, or possibly even some of you guys to go pro for those who aspire to that. Thanks, Can, for casting with me. It was a great time, as always.
Oh, it was my pleasure. It was really wasn't doing much, just streaming, so it was fun to take a break from that and come and cast with you. Always love doing that.
Yeah, thank you very much. And everyone else, have a good night.